So how is that working for you, the to be read list? Does it constantly
you
grow?
see what's going on back here.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are not read, but like this, no, other way. This whole shelf
Welcome to the Delos Diaries.
is, oh no, that's actually those two top things are Vegas writers up there.
Oh, okay.
And then the other side is all those I haven't read yet. This thing is weird, but yeah, I'm not great with the list because I definitely like have books I mean to read and then I get new ones and I forget about the old ones. But it's also kind of fun because then going to my shelves is like going to the library and I can just, find a book that I totally forgot about and read that out of the blue.
So tell us a little about the Dead Mall series. I mean, you talked about the Death by Adventure and Death of Misadventure. So just how's the Dead Mall series and just overall, what can you say about writing that book a little bit, that series?
So the Dead Mall series was my first publications. And they came out, the first book of that came out right before I moved here, actually. And the second two came out right after. They spawned from a few things. A lot of frustration with traditional querying. I was querying that book that has not been published and may never be published. I was trying to query that. And I was getting nowhere and I was getting sick of it. And I was just not having it. And independent publishing, if you can believe this, back then was still kind of seen as like a cop-out and not serious, and not a way that any real author would make money. But I went to a seminar put on by, I was in Minneapolis at the time, and I went to a seminar put on by, I forget the name of the group, it was a sci-fi fantasy group. And I met a number of authors, including one Scott Burtness, who writes Monsters in the Midwest series, and they were talking about being independently published. And it sounded great, it sounded like you have more control, you can, go straight to customer, and they really enjoyed it. So I actually got in touch with Scott, who was on the panel, and he gave me some great advice. And I knew if I was going to go independent, I wanted to do something that would never make it in traditional publishing. So I went with, they're like 100-page novellas, so kind of longer short stories. And I basically cannibalized a fan fiction I had written for Army of Darkness a while back. And took out all of the, IP that I didn't own and changed things up. It was set in an S-Mart. I moved it over to a half-abandoned mall, threw in some D&D style fights, some D&D style magic kind of stuff, and away I went. And then, so I did that and published another few books after I moved here, and wrapped up the series at 8 books. So, and then that finished in 2022, I think. 2022 is when I wrapped up that series.
Are you still independent now?
Yes, I am.
So what advice do you have for someone like me who, first of all, I hate the concept of querying. I hate the concept of like having people gatekeep my work, so to speak, from people I want to reach. What advice do you have for someone like me who's looking into possibly being an independent author?
I would say, well, one, the industry is very different now. In some ways it's harder, in a lot of ways it's easier though. I will also say that when I first published the first demo book, I knew I wasn't doing it the right way, or the ideal way.